Moin moin. Let's talk about the big one. Is language learning still worth it in the age of AI? My name is Ivan. I run a tech company. I use AI every day, including building complex AI solutions for our customers. And also I'm learning a language myself. So in this video, I will answer the most interesting questions about languages and AI that I got from different people. And this will be my opinion on the topic, more from a tech perspective and keeping in mind real capabilities of AI beyond hype. And as a bonus, in the end, I will answer probably not the most popular, but one of the most important questions. Let's go. Question number 1. Does it still make sense to learn a language when soon we will have real-time AI translation? Okay, we will have a lot of different devices for real-time translation in the next several years. We will have probably earbuds, phone apps, maybe other wearable devices that will just record everything around us and then translate it to the target language. But if we will exclude this real-time aspect from the equation, then we can say that we had these devices or tools for translating for a while already. We have Google Translate that allows you to even voice over translated text. So I don't know, if Google Translate didn't kill language learning, I don't really see why this real-time translation tool will kill language learning. First of all, real-time translation will never be as good as real speaking. It will always have some sort of a delay. And maybe this 2-second delay sounds like nothing, but in a real conversation you will feel it, and the person on the other side will also feel it. And maybe it will work for online meetings or online conversations, but when you have someone in person, it will be very inconvenient with this delay, and it will feel awkward in these situations. And also, if we rely in our communication, or even not the whole communication, or even on this translation part, if we rely only on some technical tool that, for example, can be, I don't know, not working, we don't have internet, we are currently in Germany, we have this problem sometimes. And so if you don't have internet, you cannot communicate. So I wouldn't put too much onto this translation thing. And also, of course, we need to keep in mind that translation is not equal communication. It's just a part of communication. And I think you've experienced it yourself. If you speak multiple languages, for example, if you know several languages, have you ever tried to watch the same movie with different audio tracks? So, for example, with original voiceover and with your native language voiceover, it will be two completely different movies with different jokes, with different vibe, with different mood. And same comes with books. For example, I have at home Russian edition of Lord of the Rings, and it's a massive tome, and a quarter of this tome is just a description from people who translated these books, why they translated this word like that and this phrase like that. And even though it's very interesting to read these commentaries, we see how much context you need to have around this whole translation to actually understand what author and translator meant with this particular word or phrase. So it's quite interesting. And when it comes to real conversation, it got even worse or better, I don't know. We not only communicate with words, we communicate with gesture, we communicate with context, and maybe even more we communicate with context than with everything else, because we make some jokes, we have some internal jokes, we have some culture-based jokes. And these things mostly impossible to translate. You need to be the part of this context to understand them, and one and maybe the only way to become part of this context is actually learning a language. But here comes the next question, or maybe a sub-question of the previous one. Is it still worth learning languages for travel, or is phone plus earbuds basically enough? And this one is already a little bit different. When you communicate while traveling, it's a little bit different context. For example, you go to Rome, you enter a grocery store and you want to buy something. And the only purpose of this communication will be the transferring information. So you need to make sure that person on the other end understood you, and you need to make sure that you understood the person on the other end. And when you have this type of communication, just information transfer and communication. And it's important, when both parties agreed that communication will be designed in some specific way. So for example, you are using real-time translation tool or you're using any translation tool, then it's okay, in my opinion. So if you both agreed, if they see that you are using this tool, or maybe they are using this tool, or you use the tool together, so it's fine up until the point you both agreed on that. So for this particular case, I think, yes, real-time translation will really change something. And here comes big fat but, because I believe that it's very important to learn at least 10 different words in a target language when you go to some country, because it also shows some respect, and actually people around the globe appreciate when someone tries to speak in their language. Not all of them, but I would still prefer, even while traveling, to use my natural tools and 10 words than some real-time translation tool. Of course, there are some cases when you need to use translation tool, for example, you're in a hospital or something like that, but it's like quite extreme. One small thing I want to ask you for, maybe you noticed that in the last 5 videos I have different backgrounds and I'm still trying to figure out which one is the best. So if you like this one or dislike this one, please write in the comments. And we're going to the next question. Could AI make minority languages safe? And I really like this question, and maybe I should make a separate video about this topic. But briefly, just as a context, currently we have 7,000 languages on the earth. By the end of the century, by the year 2100, we will have only 50% left. And this is optimistic prognosis, and this is a big problem. Language is extinct, and it didn't start with AI, it actually started with digitalization in general. We have languages that are called killer languages, for example, English or Chinese or Spanish. These are languages that people are drifting to from their native language. And you have example right in front of you. I make this content in English, which is not my native language, as you can hear, but still to reach more people and to transfer my message to bigger audience, I use English language, and it happens everywhere. And with AI, it got worse, because there are two types of languages: high resource languages and low resource languages. And high resource languages is languages that have a lot of data written in this language. So, for example, a lot of books, a lot of movies, a lot of songs. And on the other hand, there are low resource languages where not that many books written, not that many movies made. And since modern AI or LLMs is trained on the data, you have this imbalanced data sets. So it's trained more on this high resource language rather than this low resource language. And the problem is not only that we have this LLM that produces English text better than Swahili, but also because LLMs tend to hallucinate, they can produce something that looks like this low resource language, but actually it's not it's wrong. It can produce wrong sentence with wrong words or combination of letters. And with this, something that is called data pollution happens, because now we produce some data, and this data is perceived to be written in some low resource language, but it's actually wrong data. No one actually proved it from language perspective, and we have this data pollution, and then next LLM will be trained on this data. And this is in general a big problem, and linguists are working on it and tech people are working on it. But there is not only dark side of AI in terms of minority languages, there is also a bright side, because LLMs can be used to preserve languages. There are two terms. There is preserving languages and revitalizing languages. So preserving languages is just like keep the language from disappear. So there is a small LLM that is trained specifically on this language, on some proved and verified sources, verified data set, and then we can use it to produce correct text in some specific language that we want to keep. But it doesn't help to revitalize this language, so to force people to use more this language. And for revitalizing, actually what is working is AI-powered education or AI-powered language learning, because with AI you can create very safe environment for language learning where no one is judging you. And also because language learning market is such a huge market, and if you have very popular language learning app, Hello, Green Owl. You can introduce some languages that you want to revitalize in this app, and this is actually what happened with Duolingo, because I believe right now there are more people learning Hawaiian language in Duolingo than there are actually Hawaiian native speakers on the earth. So as I said, it's a very interesting topic and I would like to make a longer video about it. So if you want me to, just write in the comments, save minority languages, and then I will dive a little bit deeper into it. And now the next question. Why are most language learners against AI? This is something I would also like to know. I have a small YouTube channel and still I have a lot of comments from people who are saying that using AI for language learning is bad. And I think the biggest problem here that people don't really understand what AI is, what it is capable of, what is not capable of. And they learn language in some way, in some maybe more traditional way. And they achieved some results. And now they see people using AI, and because people don't fully understand AI, they're using it sometimes wrong. And these people who learn the language, they see how others got wrong information from AI assistants or misuse AI assistants, and they got very upset or angry about it. I have a real story. I have a friend of mine, and his friend didn't want to subscribe to my channel just because it's about AI. And his friend is he's a massive polyglot. He knows like 8 or 10 languages. So it's quite interesting. And I think my biggest mission on this channel, to be honest, is to actually explain to everyone that AI it's just a tool and you can use it, and you need to find a way how to use it properly, and it doesn't make things necessarily bad or necessarily good. So if you're a language learner and you hate AI, please subscribe to this channel and give me an opportunity to prove you that AI is not as bad as you think. And if you are not AI hater, then hit like button. It will also help. And the next question, does using AI to write in my target language actually improve my skills or just produce fluent looking output? And I don't know about you, but I've done it multiple times. I wrote some text or email in German, and then I just copy pasted it to ChatGPT and asked, hey, please correct all mistakes and write it in a way a native speaker would write it. And of course, the answer to this question is quite obvious. Of course, it's bad. Of course, it doesn't help you. If you find shortcut, basically with everything like that, if you find some shortcut, you steal from your own pocket the opportunity to learn something new, to find the solution yourself. But there is one thing that I still believe is okay with this approach. So first of all, of course, if you are using it in a language learning process, it's bad. It's just bad, period. But if you do it time to time, for example, at work, like I do, when I need to write to some customer or business partner an email, and I don't want to make any mistakes in this email, so I asked ChatGPT to check. When you read this email, it works a little bit like comprehensible input. I made a video about comprehensible input and what is it. Because in comprehensible input, usually it works like that. So you see some text that you almost fully understand, and just because of context, you can comprehend this text. And here, you actually have the context or the meaning of the text before you have the text itself, and then you read the text and you kind of match the initial meaning with the output text. So even though it's almost 100% useless, I would say it's 98% useless, and 2% is comprehensible input, which always great. But of course, if you are in a class, don't do that. And now, as I promised, the last question, maybe not the most popular one, but I just liked this question. Learning a language with ChatGPT just feels wrong. Is it cheating? And I think this question kind of summarize everything we've talked before. I can relate to this feeling. When you first interact with AI assistants, it does look like magic. It does look like a solution for all of your problems. But after you doing several steps, after you learn how all of these AI assistants actually work, then you start to realize that, yeah, ChatGPT is just a tool. And this tool is far from being perfect. And it's up to you how to use this tool. I think the biggest problem now that people are using AI assistants like sort of magic mirror that you can ask about anything and immediately got all the answers. And sometimes it really works like that. But even in this case, information is nothing. The value of information is actually based on things you do after with this information, on the decisions that you make based on this information, on how you apply this information for some specific area of your life. And here I like the analogy with a gym. Is it cheating to hire a trainer that will show you all exercises you need to do, that will prepare a meal plan for you, and that will control that you are actually following all the steps and eat properly and regularly visiting the gym? Is it cheating? I think not. But using trainer will increase likelihood of you achieving results you're aiming to. And I believe that using modern technologies, including AI, will increase likelihood of you achieving your goals, for example, learn a new language. But you need to do it properly. And this is exactly why I created this channel. So hit subscribe button. And if you like this video, you can click on the another one and watch more practical advice about using technology in language learning. Thank you very much and see you later.